Calling all aspiring tradespeople. Ready to master a new skill to boost your career? Introducing the Blue Collar Virtual Trade School. Learn from industry experts from the comfort of your own home. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, or electrical work, we've got you covered. Gain hands-on expertise through immersive virtual simulations and connect with instructors who have been in the field. Elevate your career potential. The Blue Collar Virtual Trade School, where future begins with a click. Visit thebluecollarvirtualtradeschool.com or call 678-916-6145.
Extra 106.3 and a Second Chance Bail Bonds are here to back your blue. Back Your Blue highlights special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Join a Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Matalon and host Tug Coward to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Now it's time to back your blue on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
Welcome to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward along with Daniel Matalon. He is the CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds, and he's so supportive of our law enforcement communities across Metro Atlanta and has done so much work to help them, to benefit them. And the work continues on this show, Daniel. It's what you do, it's what you're about, it's what your company's about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of our core values, like you've heard me say before, and something we believe in and support heavily. So
yeah, it's always great to have y'all here. And our guest today is Officer David Buchanan. He is the PIO, the Public Information Officer and Office of Community Engagement for the Kennesaw Police Department. David, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, you're always welcome. You're a graduate of Kennesaw State University, Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice, 7-year veteran on the Kennesaw Police Department, member of the Honor Guard, the Mobile Field Force, and has served on both day and night shifts as far as patrols go. Your community involvement include an ambassador for the Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics, and you head up the Jerry Worthen Memorial Christmas Fund. Man, you sound like a busy guy.
Basically, anything that doesn't fall into patrol, I handle it.
But were you on patrol prior to that?
Yeah, so I did 5 years on patrol and then assessed for the public information officer role. And then the other half of that role is community engagement. So
okay.
I deal basically anything that does with schools, churches, businesses, information going in and out of the police department. I'm kind of the liaison to the community.
Okay, which is always helpful because it puts a face to the department, right? It's not just I see a badge and a uniform. I actually have a guy. I know who that guy is. That is David Buchanan. I know David. I see him when I'm dealing with the Kennesaw Police Department. You know, if you're like for us, my family goes to Perimeter in Johns Creek, and I assume, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I assume off-duty police officers are the ones that are there during our morning worship. Because, you got to keep the church safe. It's a pretty big church there in Johns Creek, and there's a lot of traffic in and out, and they're always so helpful. Is that something they do in conjunction, or is that off-duty folks? Or is it different for everybody?
So it could be different for everybody. For us specifically, like Kennesaw First Baptist in downtown Kennesaw, we have a great relationship with them. If they ever have any events or need traffic control, anything going on, they can hire an off-duty officer. But regardless of what's going on, if there's a need in our community, we send officers to help them.
Yeah, I love that, man. And that's something. Did you grow up wanting to be an officer?
I did. So this is actually a second career for me.
No way.
So I'm a musician.
Okay.
So
now you're talking my language, Dave.
Yeah. So I played in a rock band, signed with a label, toured for 6 years.
What was the label?
Mighty Loud Records.
Okay.
So it's the guy that runs his name is Jesse James Dupree.
Yes, from Jackal.
So I grew up best friends with his son, Nigel. He started a band, and I was in college at the time. And he said, "Hey, you want to come play guitar for me?"
Yes, I do.
And I said, "Absolutely."
So do you guys tour? Did you guys do all that?
Yeah, we did. I left the band in 2013, and then I was a music teacher for 4 years.
So this is actually third career. What are you talking about?
Well, I kind of encompassed all the music into one. And
all
then
right.
I finished up my degree at KSU and joined KPD.
See, but I think that's so fascinating, and Daniel will bring you into this too, because it just shows you the layers that we have in the officers in our community. I'm a music guy. I love music. I've been working country radio for 20 plus years. I've been doing talk radio for now 5 or 6. And I pass officers all the time, and whether it's at events that we host or concerts or at church for that matter.
Yeah.
And without him being here, without David being here, you wouldn't have known that layer of him. And it just brings such a personal or a personality to the officer that you see. I think, which is so cool because he's no different than us, man. He likes good music too.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it brings a whole different dynamic to it. And Kennesaw, I used to live. Well, let me start back. I've been doing business with the city of Kennesaw for 17 years. So
wow.
Kennesaw was one of the first licenses I had to do bail in the state of Georgia. Marietta was first, and Kennesaw was second. So I have a lot of love for Kennesaw, and they do a great job over there. So.
Me too, man. Absolutely. So now that we know, we'll get to all the important stuff. I promise. Yeah. Like, what's your favorite? What do you like to listen to?
So I was born at the wrong time. I mean, 70s.
You should have been born in the 70s.
Yeah. So probably my favorite band, which is kind of weird, is the Doors.
I love the Doors. So, the Alabama song is my favorite.
Like the Who, Zeppelin,
Bab O'Reilly. Come on.
Yeah, ZZ Top. I mean, just that stuff. But and then the band that I loved that really made me pick up a guitar is the Black Crowes. I mean, that's 90s
from
band.
Marietta.
Yeah. So, but that, and then I didn't know Jackal
even existed.
Well, and I grew up knowing Nigel, Jesse's
my man,
son.
Jesse could play. Yeah. He would play a chainsaw in his. He turned a chainsaw into a musical instrument.
So, and I got to go out on the road with them and just see the professionalism and how well they are at their craft, and that kind of just turned into a whole nother gear.
Holy smokes!
So, like,
never in a million years.
Yeah.
I would have never in a million years. I mean, if somebody would told me, like, if you would have left and never brought that up, they'd be like, that David Buchanan, he used to be in a rock band. I'd be like, what? No way.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And it's I'm blessed. I mean, no kidding. I got to open up for ZZ Top.
What? Hold up.
I played with Ted Nugent.
No.
Cinderella. All those guys.
No way. So. Goodness gracious! Yeah. All before becoming an officer.
Yes, and I had very long hair.
No, I don't believe it. Do you have pictures of this? Can you don't have to show me now. Well, you can show me before we're done. I want to see that.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I want to see this rock star David Buchanan, who's now a public information officer for the Kennesaw Police Department. What a fascinating story, man. And so you were in college, but you've got your degree is in criminal justice, so there had to be some sort of inclination, even while being a touring rock star.
Yeah, so he's retired now. The former chief of Ackworth Police, Wayne Dennard, is a good friend of my father's, and growing up, just seeing him progress through the ranks and do great things for the city of Ackworth, I love that. One of my best friends growing up, he immediately went to the Georgia State Patrol, and he was telling me the war stories and chasing cars and doing all this stuff, and it was something that I was in my mid-20s at the time. I said, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. And the best decision I ever made.
All right. Y'all are going to think less of me when I tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You're listening to Back Your Blue here on Extra 106.3, brought to you by the fine folks at A Second Chance Bail Bond. Daniel Madelon on the show with us as we talk to Officer David Buchanan, a public information officer. I know I'm not supposed to be, like, into chasing people down and high-speed chases and all that, because those are bad things. You don't want that to happen. It's not what you want to happen. But there's a little bit of me that would love to be chasing somebody in one of those Georgia State Patrol cars. Goodness gracious, how can you? It'd be like on a roller coaster or something. But real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to think that, but I can't help it. I do.
Yeah. So, and that a police officer, a sheriff's deputy, or a trooper, it's a calling. I mean, it's something you have to get into, and it's very satisfying knowing that you're bringing someone into custody they may have been committed a crime, and you're helping that victim. You're helping the public keep safe. Obviously, there's danger that comes with it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But sometimes you have to do some things that put yourself in a little bit of harm's way. You don't want to be reckless, but it's needed, and it's something that, as someone who grew up in Kennesaw, I've been in Cobb County my whole life, I'm proud that I get to protect Kennesaw and make sure it's a better place.
What about other folks that have just at some point thought, you know what, I think I'd like to be an officer, and maybe they've drifted away from it. Maybe they went the other way, and now they're in a rock band, whatever, and they're like, man, I'm just right now I'm not in love with my job. Maybe it's time to make a career change. Are there opportunities with Kennesaw?
Absolutely. So across the nation, recruiting is down for police officers, and it's one of those things that give it a shot. I mean, I obviously was in a different career field, different trajectory of life, and it's something that I decided, hey, I want to do this because it's a great career. It's very rewarding. You get a good retirement. Pay is actually getting better now. You can have a good living and live where you work. So something that, give it a shot. Kennesaw is a great department. We have a great community that supports us in everything we do. We get very little backlash from anything. It's national media makes police officers out to be the villain sometimes.
Yeah.
But
we know that's not the case.
But
I mean, anybody with a head on their shoulders knows that's not the case.
Yeah, 99% of the officers are there with good intentions to make the community a better place, and we need people to help protect that.
So if someone wanted to, if they see through that BS on the nightly news, if they see through that nonsense, how do they become a police officer in Kennesaw?
So the first step of ours is to take the physical agility test.
Now I'd be out.
No.
Y'all wouldn't. Y'all would send me home.
I think you'd be all right. And it's a state regulated test. It's running, jumping over a simulated ditch, going through a window, up and down stairs, dragging a 150-pound W, stuff like that.
Sure.
It's not like a military where you got to go run a mile and a half and do 100 push-ups or whatever. It's practical to what you do as a police officer.
Sure.
So, and once you pass that, you get an application. We start the background check. Officer O'Brien in our department is our recruiter. They'll check with references. They'll do a credit check. You have to do a psychological evaluation, a drug screen, a polygraph. You'll have an interview board with officers of multiple ranks, and then they'll extend the job offer, and you meet with the chief. And
that's where it starts.
Yep, and then you either go to the academy, or if you're already certified, we send you straight into field training.
Okay. Where's the academy?
So it's the North Central Georgia Law Enforcement Academy. It's run by the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. I think in a previous episode you spoke with Sergeant Blake about it's that same
academy.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So a lot of crossover there between the municipalities and the different departments.
Yeah. So at Cobb County Law Enforcement, we are one team. I actually had a meeting yesterday with Marietta PD, Cobb PD, Cobb Sheriff, the Cobb EMA. I mean, we're all there with the Emergency Management Agency, just pre-planning for if there's ever an instance where we have to all team up, that we have those connections.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
We work very well together.
Those relationships are important, just like anything else in life. It's all about the relationships. Yeah. It really is. We'll continue on Back Your Blue with our guest, Public Information Officer David Buchanan from Kennesaw Police Department, and also hanging out with Daniel Madelon. He is the CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds, and they are the reason we get to do this show and highlight some of the greatest stories that we've had. I mean, last week we had the folks from Blue Thanksgiving on. If you didn't get a chance to go listen to that, make sure you go back and listen to it on the Extra 106.3 app, because it was so splendid. And then, we actually have another guest named Jeff Wood. He's the chairman of the Cobb County Neighborhood Safety Commission. That is next week. So just all kinds of good things happening here on Back Your Blue. When we come back, I want to ask you, if I can, Officer Buchanan, about the Citizens Academy, what it does, how it works, and how folks can get involved in the Citizens Academy. Next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Job seekers, stop the endless job hunt. The Blue Collar Recruiter is your key to the career you deserve. Are you a skilled worker seeking the right opportunity? Look no further. We connect you with employers who appreciate your dedication and expertise. Technicians, electricians, plumbers, welders, and more. We've got it all, and opportunities are just waiting for you. So skip the frustration and let us guide you to your next job. Call the Blue Collar Recruiter, 678-916-6145, or visit thebluecollarrecruiter.com.
Tonight in Arkansas, there's a mother tucking in her daughter and turning off the light. A business owner is burning the midnight oil. An at-home dinner date is plating up possibility. And it's all happening under one roof. How? The power of a conversation, like the one John from Integrity Solutions had with First Horizon Bank about his vision for a sustainable mixed-use building. Now it's not just words, it's life. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/John. First Horizon Bank, member FDIC.
This is Back Your Blue, presented by A Second Chance Bail Bonds, live on Extra 106.3 FM and streaming for free anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Welcome back to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowart, and we appreciate you being here. Our guest today is Public Information Officer from Kennesaw Police Department, Officer David Buchanan. And, of course, we have our sponsor, David Buchanan. He is the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and he's the reason that this show is on the air and on the radio. You're so focused on the community, Daniel. You do so much with the community. So many charitable causes that you're involved with and that you give back to, so many agencies that you support all across Metro Atlanta. I just don't know how you get it all done. I mean, a great staff, I assume.
Yeah, great team, obviously. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, right? So it's I think 9 counties now that we are in throughout Metro Atlanta. And obviously I live in Cobb County, so there's a little bit of,
right, a little bit of bias there, maybe a little
bias
bit.
there,
Understandable
for sure. And but yeah, it's a lot, right? So we take it very serious. We have a great marketing team behind us that keeps us all in order, and at Michael McKenzie, they keep us on the straight and narrow. But yeah, it's a lot, but we literally fill it with as much community give back as we can and get involved, when we can.
Yeah, that's right. Because if you don't have a great community, then people are going to moving away and your community is gone. I mean, that's
right.
What happened. You see it happening. I mean, in California and New York, people are leaving those places. I know those are states and not communities per se, but those communities, there are people coming out of those communities in those states, and I think California's lost like 1 million people because of all the craziness, all the crime, all the unacceptable behavior that is happening every day, and it's on the news every night. And I'm not encouraging you to watch the news every night because it'll drag you down for sure. It's bad for the country, it's bad for your soul, it's bad for everything. But I think that's why it's so important that y'all are involved like you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's another thing that y'all do, and we're going to get back to you, Officer Buchanan, because I want to ask you about the Citizens Academy that's coming up. It starts in April of 2024. But, Daniel, I want to ask you about something, too, because you work so hard to keep officers safe in the community, like I said, with charitable events. But there's another thing y'all do is electronic monitoring. And that's another layer under A Second Chance Bail Bonds.
Yeah, so that we diversified into the monitoring space, in the last 4 years as a result of a challenge, just because there was a lack of the same customer service level that we provide in the bonding space for the last almost 17 years. But so we set out to do that, and that's, in certain cases, law enforcement has full transparency with the system, and they can actually access live. There's actually live pursuit that is activated in that software where we've helped the marshals, we've helped all types of law enforcement agencies around the metro when someone is wanted that is currently on bond, maybe on a monitor, and then now there's a new situation that's occurred. So cross-referencing and using some of that data is able to help, but more importantly, just keeping, from a public safety issue, really, more than anything.
Yeah, from the police department point of view, as we talked to Officer David Buchanan, he is the public information officer at Kennesaw's Police Department. I mean, is that something that y'all find value into, the electronic monitoring stuff that A Second Chance does? I mean, is that helpful to you, and how so?
So, when I was on patrol, I never used it, but having that asset and knowing that the bail company or the bond company is on our team is always good. So if we have a case where we're looking for a specific person who is out on bond and we have that ability to quickly get them back into custody, that's something that would be huge for us.
All right.
So knowing that technology is there and accessible to us is great. Curiosity
killed the cat, I know. So how often does that come up where you have to look for someone on bond? I mean, is that a regular thing?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
That usually would fall to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Because usually it's if they're wanted and deals with bond, it's they missed a court date or something, and everything runs through the sheriff's office. They run the court system.
Okay.
So now if we come across someone who has that warrant, we're able to take care of that business. But for the most part, when it comes to proactively looking for a specific person, that's going to be Cobb County Sheriff's Office.
So, but if it was let's say it was somebody that you guys came across, and then it goes back to those relationships with the other municipalities that we finished the last segment with, is having relationships, good working relationships, so you can cooperate, and ultimately it benefits everyone in the community.
Yes. So, again, we work great with other agencies, and it's just the ability to use that and pull location data. Same thing whenever you're investigating someone. If you want to know if they're on probation or if they're on parole, that's just additional information. If they have an ankle monitor, that's even better. I mean, unless they've cut it off, we know where they're at.
Mm-hmm. No.
So, and that's something that we can track, and it can prove someone that no, they weren't involved in it because they weren't there and they still have their monitor on. Or it could also lead to say, hey, this is our suspect because we have data that shows they were there when it happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to tell you, man, technology, I know in some cases it makes everything easy until the minute it don't. Then it makes things really, really hard because nobody remembers how to do the manual way, the old way of doing it. I mean, so we were at a golf tournament last week, and I was riding on a golf cart, and my phone, bloop, right out of my pocket, because it's rough, whatever. And I noticed it about 4 holes later, and I found my wallet, and I was like, oh my gosh, my phone, where is it? And I went, and I was looking and looking, couldn't find it anywhere. And this very nice lady was like, well, you got your watch should be linked to it. And I tried to sync it up with my watch, and my watch was telling me to get out of my car. It was the craziest thing. And I was like, what? Get out of my car? I'm not in my car. So how do you reason with technology? It's not going to work. So the same very sweet lady said, do you have a laptop with you? And I was like, I do. She said, go log on to find my iPhone, your iCloud. Sure enough, I go in there, and it told me. It gave me a picture. It was a whole picture of the whole golf course, and it had the little where my phone was sitting. And I didn't know the golf course that well. The course pro happens to walk by, and I spin my computer around. I was like, you know where that is? He was like, oh, yeah, that's right there next to the 11th tee box. Sure enough, we roll right over there on the golf cart. There it is, laying on the ground. So technology is incredible. If it can track a phone down to the foot, then I can only imagine what it would do for public safety. Being able to keep people safe. You talked about, because I want to get to the Citizens Academy that's coming up, but you talked about having the ability to partner with businesses, and if they have cameras up, using that to benefit the law enforcement community or the department to solve crimes or catch people that are on the run.
Yeah, so in investigations, the biggest hiccup is just the time delay of like, hey, this occurred. We know that there are cameras here. And most of the time, if it occurred after hours or in the evening shift,
wait for the people to open up, right?
So you'll have somebody that works there, well, hey, I don't have access to the cameras. But if they put in a core and they give us access to their cameras, that's something that we can look at immediately. There's not a delay. So if the person's still in the area, we know what type of car they're driving, what they're wearing, and officers that are there are able to potentially catch the person in close proximity where the crime occurred.
How often do businesses and people that run small business or even Ring door cameras, how often do they partner with police departments?
Again, so we're blessed in Kennesaw. Our community is
so supportive. So it's probably more than maybe others.
In my 5 years on patrol, I can't remember a single time where a business was like, no, we're not going to assist you. We're not going to provide
what you need.
They're always, because good public safety is good for business.
Oh my gosh!
So
of course
like
it is.
people want to come and spend time and spend their money and bring their families to places that they're safe. So it's only beneficial for the business to want to assist the police department, and then also for us, crime is lower in areas that are thriving.
Yeah, that's right.
So we want to make sure that
win-win.
we want to ensure that our businesses are doing well and assist them any way we can, because it's mutually beneficial there.
But what about the businesses that are just do they give you carte blanche, like you can look at their cameras anytime? Is that a?
So we do have a camera registry.
Okay. So that makes sense.
So but that's not access to the camera. It's just basically saying, hey, we're Publix on Cobb Parkway. We have this many cameras. So that if a crime occurs, we can go to that list and we can pull cameras.
That's amazing.
So that we know what assets are available to us when we're doing investigations.
Now, that's incredible. Yeah. I love that. All right, let's talk about, as we talk to Officer David Buchanan of the Kennesaw Police Department, Public Information Officer. He has been serving for 7 years, and there's just a laundry list of things that he's involved in, and I want to get to some of that too, including the law enforcement torch run and the Jerry Worthen Memorial Christmas Fund. I want to talk about some of those things. But let's talk first here on Extra 106.3. It's Tug, by the way. let's talk about the Citizens Academy. What does it do? How does it work, and how do you apply to do this? Because this is coming up in April of next year.
So our department is 110% into community involvement. So it's one of those police legitimacy comes when their community gets to know the officers and understand that they are good at their job and they have capabilities to protect them. And this is just an avenue for that. Essentially, is a simulated police academy that citizens can sign up for that's run by our department. So at the end of it, we take them out to the firing range. We teach them how to shoot a handgun and a rifle. We'll take them to the ME's office. We'll do
what office?
The medical examiner's office.
Yeah.
We do traffic law. We do DUI law, constitutional law. We bring in our detectives. We bring in our criminal interdiction unit. We bring in our canines. We show them everything we have, our capabilities, and why we do what we do. It's one of those things of when a kid asks why over and over again. This is a way, not that our community is children.
No,
but it's
of course not. But we all have that same question.
Yeah, so it explains.
That's a human question.
It just explains why we do what we do, and put them in situations like we take them to a judgmental pistol shooting simulator where it's a scenario that's on a screen and they have to decide whether they're going to use force or not based on what's going on. It just kind of gives a reality to the job that comes with it, and gives us the citizens better understanding of why the police department does what they do. And most of the time, every person that goes through that, they become an ambassador for Kennesaw Police.
That's awesome.
And then also have that relationship if we have something for like the Jerry Worthen Memorial Christmas Fund. We need volunteers, or our Citizens Police Academy. We're setting up an event, and we need role players for a scenario that we're going to do. We have those people that they've already been through the class.
They've done it before, so they know the benefit.
They have relationships with us, and it's building relationships with our communities so that when there is a time of crisis, hopefully there isn't, but when there is, there's that trust between the police and the community.
Well, let's be honest. It's not an if. It's a win. I mean, truly, right?
Yeah.
In Kennesaw, probably less than, say, downtown Atlanta. But it's more of a win than an if. I love what you talked about, too, with the misunderstanding a lot of times. I think people have a misunderstanding of what law enforcement officers do, what they're about, why they do what they do. And I think that's probably going to open the door to a lot of minds and going, oh, I see now. I mean, it could be that it's just something that simple. I see why you're doing what you do and the importance of doing what you do. I love that. Look, you're not going to convince everybody, because some people have I feel like some people have political motivations for doing the exact opposite of what's good for the community that they're in. That's a different story altogether. Most people are fair-minded. Most people have an idea that, or a complete understanding that law enforcement officers are there for the betterment of the community. But for those people maybe that have been misled or misguided, this is a perfect opportunity for y'all to go, here's the why.
Yeah, so it kind of coincides with what you're saying. So my direct supervisor is our internal affairs sergeant. So any complaints on officers, he's the one that investigates them. So, and I have a kind of a standing thing with him. I say, hey, if someone complains on an officer, and obviously if the officer's wrong, do what you have to do. But if the officer was in the right, or it was just a perception issue of the person that complained, send them to me. I want that person to come to the Citizens Police Academy, put them through this so they can understand, hey, they may have felt wronged, but this is why this happened to you. This is why it occurred. These are the policies and procedures we have in place, and this is why those are in place. It's not for just the pro-police crowd. We want people that have some controversy, that we're trying to have
or
a better
questions.
Better understanding of why we do what we do. And that makes our job 1,000 times easier if we're not having to fight people on why we're doing it, and people are supportive, which, again, we're blessed in Kennesaw that the majority of our community loves us.
God bless them, man. Thank them. Thank you for what you do, but the folks there that are in support of, too, and just that are level-headed makes the most sense. How do you apply for it?
So at the beginning of the year, there will be a application put out on social media, or you can come to the police department. So initially, it'll be for anyone in the Kennesaw community. Once a certain period of time, I haven't determined that lapses, will open up to people outside, but we want to make sure that people that live, work, and play in Kennesaw have the ability to do it first. We'll cap it at about 30 students, and it runs 11 weeks, and it's every Tuesday night from 6 to 9.
How much does it cost?
$0.
Wow. Well, there's not many things these days that cost $0.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Especially because I'm a Second Amendment guy, man. I go to the gun range and I know what it costs. To do that, just to be, crisp and to be used to the firearm. It's not cheap. So the fact that you all have invested, tax dollars in this shows the importance of it and why you back it and why it's so important to y'all.
Yeah, and the other part of this is obviously we can't send everybody.
No, of course.
And all of our officers can't be involved just because we have to cover patrol duties and scheduling and overtime issues. But last year when we did this, a third of our department was involved in the teaching of it.
How about that?
So, and I mean, because although I'm the public information officer and I do community engagement, I feel like it would be a disservice if I tried to teach all these subjects. So I bring in the detectives and I bring in our interdiction unit. I bring in I don't want to be the teacher. I'm the facilitator. I want them to get to know the department and all the enforcement roles.
And a wealth of backgrounds and knowledge, right? From probably military, some that have been in, I don't know, that were musicians like you, or but I say that in jest, but it's true because that diversity of backgrounds brings a wealth of knowledge. I mean, that's it's important to be able to do that. And Daniel, I assume y'all, because you work so closely with the municipalities and the police departments and the sheriff's offices, all around the entirety of Atlanta and the whole metro, you get to see that too, the diversity of our law enforcement officers, because they all come from somewhere different. Officer Buchanan, born and raised in Kennesaw. I'm born and raised in Dalton, which is, good 60 miles north of there. Right. And then there's people from all over the country because so many people move here to Georgia because it's such a wonderful place to live. And I'm sure you see that with the diversity of backgrounds that we have in our law enforcement.
Yeah, and I would encourage this Citizens Academy. I have participated.
Oh, wow.
In this,
okay.
Not in Kennesaw.
Well, but one similar.
But I did the Fulton County Sheriff's Office in Atlanta. Their Citizens Academy some years back, and I've looked at some other ones as well. But I went through the entire program. I mean, it's incredible. It's
worth the time.
It's worth the time and the learning aspect of it, and it really gets you on the other side of stuff, and it gives you a whole newfound respect for what they do, what these officers do, and it's very informative. I mean, from the business side of the police, I mean, just all aspects of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed every segment of, like you said, it's 11 weeks, so it is a time commitment, but I mean, hey, they're giving you a time commitment.
That's exactly right.
So, but it's extremely valuable. One of the really cool experience for me. So yeah,
I love it, man. I think it's terrific.
So
We're talking, yeah, man, for sure. Talking to Daniel Madelon. He is the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and the reason that we do back your blue here on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward. Our guest today, Officer David Buchanan. He is the Public Information Officer and the Office of Community Engagement there with the Kennesaw Police Department. Let's talk about the Jerry Worthen Memorial Christmas Fund. Because I know that, Christmas will be here for you. Once you get past, let's be honest, once you get past Halloween, it is a free fall to Christmas. There's people were putting up the day after Halloween. People were putting up Christmas decorations. I've seen my wife. I'm not complaining at all because I love her. She's my best friend in the world. But she's watched about 30 Hallmark Christmas movies already. And let me tell you, I'm not a fan of Hallmark Christmas movies. I'm not. They all. It's the same formula. It's every one of them the same. You change out the characters, all the same. Anyway, sorry to get off on that tangent. My apologies. Not that that's been weighing heavy on me at all.
Yeah, clearly.
Exactly. You know what I mean. No, but seriously, y'all are doing something that's good. Tell me who that is and why you do this fund.
So, and forgive me, I don't know the exact date. So Jerry Worthen is a former city council member in Kennesaw. He passed away. This was started, I believe it's over 30 years ago. It's a process where families that need assistance, they apply. All the applications come to me. I actually go individually to their houses and vet them that they're in need of assistance. They actually live in Kennesaw, and meet the kids, get to know them, what their favorite colors are, what type of toys they like. And then with that, we have collection bins around the city for toy donations. And whatever is not met by the toy donations, we go to a store in Kennesaw, whether it's Walmart or Target, and we go shopping. We buy the kids all new like shoes, clothes, toys, and prepare everything for them. And then we bundle it all up and give it back to the parents and allow them to present it, whether it's from Santa or from them. So and kind of keep that dignity of they didn't need assistance.
But
everything is vetted. We don't. Like I take it very seriously that I'm not. People are donating time and money to this program. I want to make sure it goes to the right families that actually need assistance.
Yeah, the people that we say we're serving and the people that we say we're helping, which is understandable. Just accountability, man. I mean, it's what we lack, I think, in the world these days, right? Is accountability on so many levels.
Absolutely.
Holy cow. It's always somebody else's fault. It's not my fault. It had to be somebody else that did it. Couldn't have been me. You know, and unfortunately, it just seems like we trend even more that way every time, man. It's crazy. So that's great. Also, Dinner with Santa coming up.
Yes.
That's on the 11th of December.
Monday the 11th from 6 to 8:30 at Copeland's on Barrett Parkway in Kennesaw. Santa will be there. If you bring a gift, you get a free appetizer or dessert. They're doing their holiday buffet. It's fantastic. Quentin Thomas, he's the manager he's a great guy. He always is very supportive of our department. We'll be out there. You can take a picture with Santa, have dinner with officers, and it's all for a good cause.
There you go. So many things you're going to – and it's just so admirable. It's, again, I just feel like everything – and Daniel, you can jump in on this too. I just feel like everything that we talk about on this show, Back Your Blue, it always comes back to just goodness, just pure heart, and just – being decent people. Positivity, that's right. That's what it always comes down to. And every guest we've had has done that. They've been so positive and done such good work. It's always cool to see that happen. We got about 30 seconds here, so we'll wrap up this segment. And when we come back, we'll talk about the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics that you guys are doing, the new criminal interdiction unit, the Unity in Community. I like that. Whoever put that together is very clever. Unity in Community. I like that. It rhymes. The Juneteenth program. Then you got the public safety cadets, a youth program, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. I got to tell you, I'm interested in why this one's on the list. I'll admit I'm there. And then Hooked on Blue, the bass fishing tournament that happens early next year. Man, if you love fishing and you love your law enforcement, love your community, this will be one that you'll want to get out there involved with. I have a feeling it's going to be there. Something tells me on Lake Altoona, ain't it?
It is not.
It is not? Oh, there's the tease. Where does it happen? Next on Back Your Blue. On Extra 106.3, our guest is David Buchanan. He's the Public Information Officer, the Office of Community Engagement at Kennesaw Police Department. We also have Daniel Madelon. He is the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. My name is Tug Cowart on Extra 106.3. What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at firstlibertyga.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at firstlibertyga.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
Finding your direction, a career path, can be difficult. There's so many choices. Check out Life University and explore your options at their Eagle Madness Preview Day on Saturday, March 2nd. It's your opportunity to spend the day learning about their unique undergraduate programs like culinary nutrition, biology, business administration, and more. Come discover exciting majors and talk to current students and faculty at our beautiful Marietta campus. We'd love to see you at our Eagle Madness Preview Day on March 2nd. For more details and to register, visit life.edu/join today.
Extra 106.3 and A Second Chance Bail Bonds are here to back your blue. Now back to the show on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Welcome back. Final segment of Back Your Blue, brought to you by Daniel Madelon and his company, A Second Chance Bail Bonds. My name is Tug Cowart. Our guest today, Officer David Buchanan. He's the Public Information Officer there at the Office of Community Engagement at the Kennesaw Police Department. All right. This is a one that's near and dear to my heart. Something that y'all do with the community that I think is wonderful is the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics. I have a nephew that participates in Special Olympics. It's so much fun to see him playing softball and out there. I mean, they've gone to tournaments in Valdosta. They've gone all around. So cool. You know, it's real ball, man. They get out there and play. It's not anything but real ball, and that's the thing that he loves about it the most. And then I have an adopted sister that was involved in Special Olympics. So y'all got the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics. Tell me about it.
So first off, it's all about inclusion. So, that's what the motto is of the Special Olympics of Georgia. So the law enforcement torch run is actually a national campaign that we participate in. So throughout the year, it's kind of individualized. They do Cops on a Donut Shop campaign on National Donut Day, just as with the stereotype.
Yes, absolutely, man. Might as well poke fun at it.
Yeah, so we raised money for them there. This past year, I actually held a car show. It was a Main Street cruising in downtown Kennesaw.
Nice.
We raised $12,000 for Special Olympics and just people coming out on a Saturday morning, showing off their cars and donating.
What was the coolest car you saw there?
It's going to be a weird one. So it was a 1993 Toyota MR2 Turbo.
What?
A little mid-engine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those things are fast.
You just don't ever see them.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Those things are so cool. I'm sure.
Ferraris, Lamborghinis, old Corvettes, and Mustangs and stuff like that. But that was the unique one.
Dude, that's awesome. You guys have the new criminal interdiction unit. Tell me about that.
So it's a sergeant, 2 officers, and 2 canine officers. So think of it. We don't have a SWAT team. We use Cobb County Police's SWAT team. So this is if we have a problem area, we have somebody that like a reoccurring issue, something going on. These guys are the ones that they dedicate just problem solving. They're not in calls rotation for 911 calls. If we have an issue, they address it. They've been a godsend for us. So anytime we have multiple complaints about something, we have any sort of drug activity going on, they investigate all of that.
And let me tell you, if you see one of those dogs coming at you, woo, I'd rather you come at me. No. I'd rather you pick the biggest guy on your force. I'd rather him come at me than one of those canines, man. They're so smart, and they get the job done. Yep. I've never seen them fail.
And you get to meet them at the Citizens Police Academy.
What? Let's go.
Yep.
Because usually they got the vest on that says, do not touch me, I'm working, or something like that, because I'm a dog guy, man. I want to just give them a big hug and rub their ears, and like I do my dog at home. And they don't allow me, Daniel. They don't allow me to do that. I've wanted to, and I've been tempted before to do it, even though I'm not supposed to. Right. But it goes back to accountability. I've chosen wisely and not done that because then, truly, because that dog's gonna be like, oh, you rip my arm off anyway, right? He's gonna be like, back off, I'm working, pal. Yep. I love it, man. There's nothing better. Is there anything better than the canine dogs? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, no, they're cool.
Those things are so awesome.
Yeah, and that's another thing actually we did for Special Olympics for torch run. So we. I use a company out of California. They make these replica canine plush dolls, like little stuffed animals. We had one made of Canine Arrow. He's a Dutch Shepherd. It had our patch on it, our badge. It had his name on it, and we sold those and it was right under $4,000 for Special Olympics. And in addition to that, bought him a new training bite suit for the handler. A brand new bite suit that's better technology that's safer for the dog. For them to train with.
Dude, I remember being in 8th grade at Eastbrook Middle School in Dalton, Georgia, when they brought out the Whitfield County. It may have been City of Dalton. It was either City of Dalton or the Whitfield County Sheriff's Department, whoever has the dogs up there. And they did the demonstration on the football field. I was like, good Lord. Because it was the same thing. This was a German Shepherd, and he spoke in German, and he was just ordering this dog, and the dog did everything it was asked to do. And the guy was running, and he pulled this dude. It was a big old guy too, and he pulled him down like it was nothing. Yep. Those dogs are so strong and so smart and so cool. That's the reason if you're going to work with the police department, because I know you guys have openings, and what do you got, like 10 openings?
10 openings. Yeah. Yep.
If I'm trying to go to work for the police department, that's what I want to get to. And that may not be, that may not be your first stop, right? It's patrol or whatever. My goal, Daniel, would be to get to work with the police dogs. Yeah, the canines. How do you do that?
So there's a requirement. I don't know the exact policy. You have to have worked with us for a couple of years.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there's an assessment that goes with it.
Yeah.
And the standing canine handlers, you go out to training with them, observe, and see how you are around the dogs and stuff like that. But going back to your Whitfield County demonstration, that's why they call them fur missiles.
Fur missiles. I like it.
Yeah.
I've never heard them called that, but I love the fact that they do. That's so good. All right, you got Unity in the Community, the Juneteenth program.
So that is, we have an advisory council that works with our chief, and it's just citizens that if there's issues that they kind of bring it up to. There's no discipline to officers and anything like that. It's inclusion of, we want to hear feedback from our community on how we could better serve them. So after George Floyd, we decided to start the Unity in the Community. One of our police chaplains, Pastor Rod Green, he kind of heads that up. We do it every year in the park, Swift Cantrell Park in Kennesaw, and it's just growing every year. It's just come out, have some food, get something to drink. There's bouncy houses for the kid. We'll have tug of war and potato sack races. It's just a time for the community to spend time with their police officers, to get to know them. Ahead of a crisis, we want to meet in positive situations.
A couple more to cover. The one that I really want to ask you about is this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu charity, but we'll get to that last. You got the Public Safety Cadets, the youth program.
Yeah, so for us, it was formerly the Police Explorers, which was run through the Boy Scouts. We moved over to the Public Safety Cadets, which is run by active and retired law enforcement. This is for the kids that have a desire to work in law enforcement, from starting at age 14 till they're 20. They can come in, they get real police training. They will get to work events with officers. It's about police training, but it's also about life training, teaching them how to be professional, how business transactions go, how to show up to an interview, things like that in addition to that. So it's preparing the youth for life that want to be in the career of law enforcement.
All right. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you got to tell me.
All right, so a few years ago, not to knock any defensive tactics training that happened in previous decades, but everything was kind of done at an arm's reach out when it came to going hands-on to take someone into custody, or if someone's trying to fight you as a police officer. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu talks about gaining control, keeping things close to your body, and getting people to the ground, where it makes the person who is being taken into custody and the officer in a much safer situation.
Okay, so this is the training for officers.
Yes.
Got it. And I thought it was for the community, because I was about to come out.
Oh, no.
Get my jiu-jitsu belt.
I mean, we train a lot. So, and then in addition to that, the city actually pays for all the officers' training. And if they go while they're off duty, they get an hour of vacation.
That's awesome.
Every class they go to, and it just makes the community a safer place.
Before we wrap up, the last thing is on March 15th, y'all got the Hooked on the Blue Bass Fishing Tournament. Where does it take place?
So it's down in West Point, Georgia.
Okay.
So it's actually, I believe he's a sergeant with Douglasville PD. I met him at a luncheon, and so it's a great organization, Hooked on the Blue. So he's an avid angler. He goes down to Florida, does fishing trips. So this is for officers and their families that are seriously injured in the line of duty. He takes them and their family down, and as a kind of a get their mind off of all the crap that's going on. Takes them down and takes them on a fishing trip, all expenses paid. So this is a tournament that they're holding to raise money to be able to pay to take officers, like the officer in Carrollton that got shot in the head. Mm-hmm. Him and his family went down there. There was an officer from Atlanta PD. He's a great guy. Matt Underwood's his name, and he takes care of them. And we are doing everything we can to help promote them and be involved. That's
great,
with that.
man. Well, I'm glad we talked about it. Taking applications quickly as we wrap up Back Your Blue with our guest, Officer David Buchanan of the Kennesaw Police Department, Public Information Officer there, and, of course, Daniel Madelon, the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. Where do folks go if they want to start the journey of becoming an officer?
So the best way is to reach out directly to our recruiter, Officer Michael O'Brien, but you can go to the city's website, kennesaw-ga.gov, and go to the police, and there's a recruitment tab in there. That'll get you linked up. But I don't have it off the top of my head. But whenever our next physical agility test is, that's the first step.
Okay.
So because we want to make sure that they're physically able to do the job before we spend all the man hours and doing background and things like that.
No, it makes sense. Officer Buchanan, thank you for everything you do for the community. We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me be here. This is awesome.
Yeah, man. It's Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3.
This morning in the Atlanta airport, no one's missing a meal on Mac Wilburn's watch. With 11 restaurants to serve passengers, he's got dining for every destination. And it all started when Mac talked with First Horizon Bank about opening a franchise in the airport. Now it's open for business and cleared for takeoff. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Mac. First Horizon Bank, member FDIC.
Finding your direction, a career path, can be difficult. There's so many choices. Check out Life University and explore your options at their Eagle Madness Preview Day on Saturday, March 2nd. It's your opportunity to spend the day learning about their unique undergraduate programs like culinary nutrition, biology, business administration, and more. Come discover exciting majors and talk to current students and faculty at our beautiful Marietta campus. We'd love to see you at our Eagle Madness Preview Day on March 2nd. For more details and to register, visit life.edu/join today.
Calling all aspiring tradespeople. Ready to master a new skill to boost your career? Introducing the Blue Collar Virtual Trade School. Learn from industry experts from the comfort of your own home. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, or electrical work, we've got you covered. Gain hands-on expertise through immersive virtual simulations and connect with instructors who have been in the field. Elevate your career potential. The Blue Collar Virtual Trade School, where future begins with a click. Visit thebluecollarvirtualtradeschool.com or call 678-916-6145.